Our planet is a vast, ever-changing stage where the stories of countless creatures unfold in silence and secrecy. Deep within ancient forests, across windswept plains, and beneath the dense canopies of jungles, animals live out their lives, shaped by the rhythms of nature and the relentless drive to survive. Yet, as the world changes, the boundaries that once separated wild habitats from the expanding reach of civilization are dissolving. Forests give way to open clearings, rivers are redirected, and grasslands are carved by new obstacles. The wild is no longer a distant realm, it is now interwoven with the spaces shaped by human hands. With the advent of technology, we are now able to witness the secret lives of animals as they navigate these altered landscapes. Hidden cameras capture the silent passage of a deer through a moonlit clearing, the cautious approach of a fox at the edge of a field, or the sudden appearance of a predator where prey once felt safe. Sometimes these moments are breathtaking in their drama. A squirrel, misjudging a leap, tumbles from a towering tree, twisting in the air before landing with astonishing agility. The forest floor, cushioned by leaves and moss, becomes a stage for survival, where every fall is a test of evolution's ingenuity. In other scenes, the majesty of a lion is revealed as it steps onto a strange, hard surface, a road that cuts through its ancestral territory. The lion pauses, senses alert, as the unfamiliar terrain challenges its instincts and forces it to adapt in real time. Elsewhere, a massive snake emerges from the shadows, gliding across surfaces it was never meant to traverse. Its scales catch the light as it explores new territory, searching for shelter or prey in places transformed by the encroachment of the unfamiliar. These encounters are not just fleeting spectacles. They are profound reminders of the delicate balance that exists between the animal kingdom and the world that has been reshaped around it. Each animal, whether predator or prey, must navigate a landscape that is constantly shifting beneath its feet. Every crossing, every dash through a hazardous terrain is a story of survival. Animals must learn to read new dangers, to adapt their ancient instincts to the challenges of a world that is no longer entirely wild. The physics of survival are on full display. A small mammal, seemingly fragile, survives a fall that would be fatal to larger creatures. Its body, honed by generations of adaptation, absorbs the impact, and it scurries away, a living testament to the power of evolution. But not all stories end in triumph. The collision of animal instinct and the hard edges of the modern world can have tragic consequences. A once safe path becomes a gauntlet of danger, and the cost of a single misstep can be devastating. Highways slice through migration routes that have existed for centuries, forcing herds to halt at the edge of roaring traffic, their journey interrupted by barriers they cannot understand. Even the quietest corners of the world can become arenas of conflict. A predator, drawn by the scent of opportunity, stalks through unfamiliar territory, its presence a reminder that the wild is never far away. The stories are as varied as the creatures themselves. From the smallest rodent to the largest predator, each animal faces its own unique challenges as it navigates the shifting boundaries of its world. In distant lands, the power of an elephant can turn a tranquil scene into chaos. The animal, agitated and confused, moves through a landscape transformed by unfamiliar sights and sounds, its every step a reminder of the raw force of nature. In open fields, the ground is torn apart by the relentless rooting of feral hogs. Their numbers swell, and their impact is felt across the land, leaving a trail of destruction that echoes through the ecosystem. Whether it is a reptile crossing a perilous road at dusk, a bird ensnared within the confines of a new structure, or a mammal caught in the lens of a hidden camera, each incident is a vital clue in the story of adaptation and survival. The pressures faced by animals are immense. The noise, the barriers, the constant change, all force them to adapt or perish. Their struggles ripple outward, affecting the balance of entire ecosystems. These moments, captured in fleeting glimpses, are more than just shocking images. They are lessons in resilience, in the complexity of behavior, and in the urgent need for harmony between the wild and the world that surrounds it. As we explore these extraordinary encounters, a larger narrative emerges, a story of change, of conflict, and of the search for balance in a world where the wild and the altered are forever entwined. It is a story of habitats lost to the relentless march of progress, of species introduced to new lands where they have no natural enemies, and of the unforeseen consequences that ripple through the web of life. The appearance of a powerful python in a distant home or a cunning bobcat prowling near a remote dwelling are not isolated events. They are signs of a world in flux, where the old rules no longer apply. These are symptoms of a much broader imbalance, an ecosystem stretched to its limits, where every animal must find new ways to survive. By examining these encounters, we begin to piece together the puzzle of coexistence. The challenge is immense: to protect vulnerable habitats, to restore balance, and to ensure that the wild heart of our planet continues to beat, even as the world around it changes. In the end, these stories remind us that the fate of the wild and the fate of the world are forever linked. Only by understanding and respecting this connection can we hope to create a future where all life can thrive. Nature thrives on a delicate balance, a tapestry woven from countless threads of life, each species playing its part in a grand interconnected design. Within this intricate web, predators, prey, plants, and even the tiniest insects all contribute to the health and stability of their native ecosystem. Every relationship, from the silent cooperation of fungi and trees to the dramatic chase between hunter and hunted, is a story millions of years in the making. But sometimes this ancient balance is disrupted by the arrival of an outsider, an invasive species whose presence is as sudden as it is transformative. Invasive species are organisms, plants, animals, or even microscopic life forms that find themselves in a new land, far from the checks and balances of their original home. Without the predators, diseases, or competitors that once kept them in check, these newcomers can multiply with astonishing speed, their populations exploding across the landscape. The consequences for native life can be devastating. Imagine a forest where native plants are choked out by a fast-growing vine, or a wetland where native fish vanish as a new predator sweeps through the waters. Invasive predators may hunt native animals that have no natural defenses, while aggressive plants can smother entire meadows, blocking sunlight and stealing nutrients from the soil. The ripple effects are profound. Native animals may be forced to abandon their homes, searching for food and shelter in a world that no longer welcomes them. In some cases, invasive species devastate entire populations, leading to the disappearance of once common creatures and the collapse of food webs that supported countless forms of life. Even the landscape itself can be transformed. Burrowing animals may undermine riverbanks, causing erosion and changing the course of streams, while invasive plants can alter the chemistry of the soil, making it inhospitable for native growth. Forests that once stood tall and green may become graveyards of dead trees, their canopies riddled with gaps where invasive insects have feasted on their bark and leaves. The silent work of burrowing invaders can cause hillsides to collapse and wetlands to drain away, leaving behind barren earth where life once flourished. The cost to the natural world is immense, measured not just in lost beauty, but in the disappearance of entire species and the unraveling of ancient relationships. For every native animal forced to wander in search of food, for every plant that vanishes beneath a tide of invaders, a chapter of the ecosystem's story is lost. The invasion is often slow and silent, a creeping transformation that may go unnoticed until the damage is done. Invasive species arrive through many pathways, sometimes drifting on the wind, sometimes carried by the fur or feathers of migrating animals, and sometimes hidden in the most unexpected places. Seeds may cling to the fur of a wandering mammal, or insects may burrow deep into the bark of a fallen log, waiting for the chance to emerge in a new world. Sometimes the journey is long and perilous, crossing oceans and continents before the invader finds a place to call home. Aquatic invaders may travel in the ballast water of ships released into distant lakes and rivers, where they quickly establish new populations. Beetles and other insects may hide within the crevices of wood, emerging to feast on forests that have never seen their kind before. Seeds can hitch a ride on the paws of animals, or in the mud that clings to their feet, spreading far beyond their original range. Sometimes, exotic animals escape into the wild, adapting quickly to their new surroundings and finding ways to survive where none existed before. Whether by accident or design, these creatures can become pioneers, forging new paths through unfamiliar territory. What begins as a single, seemingly harmless introduction can over years or decades become a full-blown ecological crisis as populations grow and spread unchecked. The landscape itself may be transformed, lush meadows replaced by thickets of thorny invaders, clear streams choked with alien plants, and once familiar forests rendered unrecognizable. To understand what makes a species invasive is to recognize the traits that allow them to thrive. Adaptability, rapid reproduction, and a willingness to eat almost anything. It is not simply about being in a new place, it is about causing harm, displacing native life, altering habitats, and changing the very rules of survival. These invaders are often generalists, able to eat a wide variety of foods and survive in many conditions, outcompeting the specialists that once ruled their domain. Consider the zebra mussel, a tiny shellfish that has blanketed the Great Lakes, clogging pipes and outcompeting native mussels for food and space, or the kudzu vine, whose relentless growth smothers trees and shrubs, turning vibrant forests into green deserts. The story is always the same. An outsider arrives, unnoticed at first, but soon begins to reshape the world around it. Finding a world ripe for conquest, the invader spreads, filling every available niche and pushing native life to the margins. In the end, the result is a slow, silent takeover, an unraveling of ecosystems that have stood the test of millennia, now forever changed by the presence of a single determined invader. The Florida Everglades, a vast expanse of lush, humid wetlands, once echoed with the calls of countless native creatures. This unique ecosystem, far removed from the jungles of Southeast Asia, has become the unlikely stage for a dramatic and ongoing invasion. Here, the Burmese python, one of Asia's most formidable predators, has found a new home. These colossal constrictors, with their cryptic patterns and silent movements, now glide through the sawgrass and cypress, blending seamlessly into the wild tapestry of the Everglades. The story of their arrival is one of unintended consequences. Originally brought to Florida through the exotic pet trade, some pythons slipped away from their enclosures, while others were released when their keepers could no longer manage their ever-growing size and insatiable hunger. Once in the wild, these snakes found themselves in a land of abundance, warm, wet, and teeming with prey, but crucially lacking the natural predators that kept them in check in their native range. In this paradise, the Burmese python population exploded. They slithered through the undergrowth, their presence a growing shadow over the native wildlife. Birds, rabbits, raccoons, and even deer became easy targets for these powerful hunters. As their numbers grew, the pythons spread across thousands of acres, their silent advance pushing native species to the brink. The Everglades, once alive with the rustle of mammals and the flutter of birds, began to fall eerily quiet. The impact was devastating. Pythons, with their immense strength, could constrict and overpower almost any animal they encountered. The balance of the ecosystem began to unravel. With a squeezing force reaching up to 300 pounds per square inch, these snakes could subdue prey much larger than themselves. Their diet was indiscriminate. Birds, mammals, and even other reptiles fell victim to their crushing embrace. In some of the most astonishing scenes, pythons have been documented swallowing alligators and deer whole, their jaws unhinging to accommodate meals that seem impossibly large. The consequences for native mammals have been catastrophic. In areas where pythons are well established, raccoons, opossums, and bobcats have all but vanished, their populations decimated by relentless predation. This loss ripples through the food web. Predators that once relied on these mammals now struggle to find food, and the intricate balance of the Everglades is thrown into chaos. The Everglades, once a symphony of life, is slowly being silenced. The python's presence is felt in every empty burrow and every silent thicket. The reach of the Burmese python extends ever outward. As their numbers swell, they push the boundaries of their territory, venturing into new habitats and encountering new species. Pythons have been observed crossing open fields, moving along the edges of forests, and even appearing at the margins of human-altered landscapes where wild animals still roam. In these new frontiers they encounter a different array of animals, rabbits, squirrels, and even the occasional fox, each one a potential meal for the ever-hungry python. The python's stealth allows it to slip into hidden spaces, lying in wait for unsuspecting prey. Small mammals, birds, and reptiles are all at risk, their fates sealed by the python's patient ambush. Even bodies of water are not safe. Pythons are powerful swimmers, gliding through ponds and swamps in search of aquatic prey, turtles, wading birds, and even young alligators. The threat to smaller animals is ever present. While attacks on larger creatures are rare, the python's appetite for small mammals and birds has led to a dramatic decline in their numbers. In the wild, the python's predatory reach is relentless. Over a single 6-month period, these snakes have been responsible for hundreds of attacks on small mammals, turning once safe habitats into danger zones for native creatures. The scale of the invasion is staggering. Maps tracking their spread show a relentless expansion, with pythons now occupying vast swathes of the Everglades and beyond. By 2015, it was estimated that the python population had grown to occupy over 20,000 acres, their numbers multiplying with each passing year. Some estimates suggest there could be as many as 9 million Burmese pythons slithering through Florida's wild places, each one a silent threat to the animals that call this land home. The ecological cost is immense. As pythons disrupt the natural order, the very fabric of the Everglades is being torn apart, with consequences that ripple through every level of the ecosystem. Native predators, deprived of their usual prey, are forced to compete with the pythons or move on, leaving behind a changed and diminished landscape. The Burmese python is no longer just an exotic visitor. It has become a dominant force, reshaping the Everglades and challenging every animal that lives within its reach. The struggle for survival continues as native species adapt, flee, or fall silent in the shadow of this relentless invader. In the heart of the Florida Everglades, a silent war rages beneath the tangled canopy and across the endless sawgrass. Here, the ancient rhythms of predator and prey have been upended by the arrival of a formidable new force, the Burmese python. These massive snakes, once strangers to this land, now glide silently through the swamps, their presence felt by every creature that calls the Everglades home. Native animals, rabbits, raccoons, opossums, and even deer move with new wariness, their numbers dwindling as the python's shadow grows longer. The pythons hunt with patience and power, their coils spelling doom for the unwary. Once the Everglades teemed with small mammals, but now many burrows lie empty, and the night is quieter than it once was. Even the alligator, long the apex predator here, finds itself in uneasy competition with this relentless invader. The struggle is not just between snake and mammal. Alligators and pythons sometimes clash in epic battles, each capable of preying on the other. Meanwhile, birds like herons and egrets, once abundant, now take flight at the slightest disturbance, their chicks increasingly vulnerable to the python's stealthy approach. The python's appetite knows few bounds. Eggs vanish from nests, and the delicate balance of the food web is thrown into chaos. Fish, frogs, and even turtles sense the change, their habitats subtly altered as the python's presence ripples outward. The landscape itself is changing. With fewer small mammals to aerate the soil and disperse seeds, the very fabric of the Everglades shifts. Some plants struggle to reproduce, while others spread unchecked, altering the mosaic of life that has persisted for millennia. Every movement of the python sends ripples through the ecosystem. Orchids and wildflowers, once pollinated by mammals now gone, bloom less frequently. Insects and amphibians too feel the loss, their own predators and prey thrown out of balance. Night in the Everglades is different now. The calls of owls echo over quieter marshes, and the moonlight reveals the sinuous path of the python as it glides through the reeds. The ancient chorus of the swamp is missing familiar voices, replaced by a tense, watchful silence. Each year, new generations of pythons emerge, their numbers swelling as native species struggle to adapt. The cycle continues, relentless and unforgiving, as the Everglades itself is reshaped by this ongoing battle. The Everglades remains a place of haunting beauty and profound resilience. Yet, beneath its tranquil surface, the struggle for survival continues, a testament to the power of nature and a sobering reminder of how a single change can echo through an entire world. In the wild, untamed heart of Montana, as the first rays of sunlight spill across the rolling hills and dense forests, a silent shadow moves with purpose. This is the domain of the bobcat, a master of stealth and survival. With tufted ears and a short, bobbed tail, the bobcat is perfectly adapted to blend into its surroundings, moving almost invisibly through the tall grasses and tangled brush. This elusive feline is a solitary hunter relying on keen eyesight and acute hearing to detect the faintest rustle of prey. At dawn and dusk, the bobcat becomes most active, stalking rabbits, rodents, and birds with a patience that borders on artistry. Every movement is calculated, every step measured as it weaves through the forest, a ghost among the trees. The bobcat's agility is legendary. It can leap several times its own body length, pouncing with explosive speed when the moment is right. Under the cover of night, its eyes reflect the moonlight, scanning for movement as it silently patrols its territory. A successful hunt means a quiet meal, often hidden away beneath a thicket or in the shelter of a fallen tree, where the bobcat can eat undisturbed. After feeding, the bobcat meticulously grooms itself, maintaining the cleanliness of its fur, a vital habit for a predator that must remain undetected. Territorial by nature, the bobcat marks its range with scent, using glands on its face and paws to communicate with rivals and potential mates. Its territory can span several square miles, and the bobcat patrols it regularly, climbing trees for a better vantage point or to escape larger predators. In spring, a female bobcat gives birth in a secluded den, often hidden among rocks or dense brush. The kittens, blind and helpless at first, rely entirely on their mother for warmth and protection. As they grow, she teaches them the art of hunting, first with play, then with real prey, passing on the skills that have allowed her kind to thrive for millennia. The family moves quietly through the forest, the kittens mimicking their mother's every move, learning to navigate the dangers and opportunities of the wild. The bobcat's world is one of constant vigilance. Coyotes, wolves, and even eagles pose threats to the young, while adults must compete with other predators for food. In winter, the bobcat's thick fur insulates it against the cold, and its wide paws act like snowshoes, allowing it to move easily across drifts in search of prey. It listens for the faint sounds of rodents tunneling beneath the snow, then strikes with astonishing precision, a testament to its finely tuned senses. As dusk falls, the bobcat finds a high vantage point, surveying its territory as the world quiets, ever alert to the rhythms of the wild. The bobcat's life is a delicate balance, predator and prey, hunter and hunted, always adapting to the changing seasons and shifting fortunes of the land. Its presence shapes the ecosystem, controlling populations of small mammals and birds and in turn providing food for larger predators and scavengers. Through scent and sound, the bobcat communicates with others of its kind, maintaining the intricate web of relationships that define its world. Waterways and streams are vital to the bobcat's survival, offering both hydration and a corridor for travel and hunting. In spring, the landscape bursts into color, and the bobcat moves through fields of wildflowers, its coat dappled by sunlight and shadow. Each day begins anew, with the bobcat stretching and sharpening its claws, ready to face the challenges and opportunities of another day in the wild. And as the sun sets once more, the bobcat melts back into the shadows, a silent guardian of the wilderness, its story written in the tracks it leaves behind. In the grand tapestry of Montana's wild places, the prolific bobcat remains both a mystery and a marvel, an enduring symbol of nature's resilience and grace. In the heart of Limpopo, South Africa, the wild and the modern world meet in a most unexpected way on the long ribbons of asphalt that cut through the bushveld. Here the roads are not just for vehicles, they are also thoroughfares for some of Africa's most majestic creatures, the lions. As the sun rises, the warmth of the road draws entire prides out of the tall grass. Lions, ever opportunistic, use these man-made paths for more than just crossing. They bask on the heated surface, stretch out in the early morning light, and sometimes even play, their paws padding softly on the smooth ground. The road becomes a stage for their daily rituals. Cubs tumble and wrestle, learning the skills they'll need to survive. Lionesses groom their young, keeping a watchful eye on the horizon. Sometimes the pride uses the road as a vantage point, scanning for prey or rival predators. These roads are also places of tension and drama. A pride might encounter a herd of wildebeest grazing dangerously close, or a troop of baboons chattering nervously as they skirt the lion's territory. Hyenas lurk in the shadows waiting for an opportunity, while vultures circle above, ever watchful for the remains of a kill. When a hunt is successful, the road's edge becomes a feasting ground. Lionesses defend their meal from bold hyenas and jackals, while cubs tug at scraps, learning the pecking order of the pride. The air is thick with the sounds of growls, snarls, and the crunch of bones. After the excitement, the pride retreats to the shade of roadside acacias, bellies full and eyes heavy. The lions rest, their golden eyes reflecting the shimmer of the road, tails flicking lazily as the midday heat settles over the bush. For the youngest members, the road is a place of learning. Under the watchful gaze of their mothers, cubs explore termite mounds and practice stalking, their movements growing more confident with each passing day. Adolescents engage in mock hunts, pouncing and tumbling in the dust, honing their skills for the future. As dusk falls, the pride moves on, melting into the tall grass. Their paw prints linger in the dust, silent reminders of their passage. The road, for a moment, is empty, until the next pride arrives, continuing the ancient dance between predator, prey, and the wild South African landscape. In these fleeting moments, the road is transformed, not just a boundary between worlds, but a living artery of the wild, where lions rule and the rhythms of nature play out in full view, undisturbed and magnificent. Across every continent, the world's wild creatures engage in a constant dance of survival, competition, and adaptation, a drama that unfolds far from human eyes, shaped by instinct and the relentless forces of nature. In the heart of Texas, feral hogs roam in tight-knit groups, their snouts rooting through the earth in search of roots, insects, and small animals. These omnivores, descended from domestic pigs, have become formidable competitors, often clashing with native species over food and territory. Their relentless foraging disrupts the delicate balance of the ecosystem as they outcompete deer, turkeys and ground-nesting birds, leaving behind a patchwork of upturned soil and displaced wildlife. Under the cover of darkness, these hogs venture into open fields, their presence sending smaller mammals and birds scattering, each animal acutely aware of the shifting hierarchy in the wild. In the forests of India, the mighty elephant commands respect. Herds move with deliberate grace, their trunks exploring the world, communicating with low rumbles that travel for miles, signaling their presence to other creatures. At watering holes, elephants assert their dominance, gently nudging aside antelope and buffalo, while birds perch atop their backs, picking off insects, in a display of mutual benefit. Even in protected reserves, animals must navigate a landscape fragmented by rivers, cliffs, and dense forests, forging new paths and alliances as they adapt to ever-changing boundaries. In South Africa, the rhinoceros moves with quiet authority. As it crosses the savanna, smaller animals yield while oxpeckers ride along its back, feeding on ticks and alerting the rhino to unseen dangers. At water sources, rhinos engage in subtle displays of dominance with other large herbivores, each movement a negotiation for space and safety in a world where size and strength often dictate survival. When natural disasters strike, such as sudden floods, animals band together in remarkable displays of cooperation. Herds of antelope, wild boar, and even predators move in uneasy truce, seeking higher ground as the waters rise. In the aftermath, survivors regroup, their instincts guiding them to new feeding grounds, while opportunistic birds circle above, searching for stranded or weakened animals. In the grasslands of China, flocks of sheep graze alongside wild deer, both species ever alert to the approach of wolves or eagles. Their shared vigilance creates a web of warning signals, each animal attuned to the slightest sign of danger. In the skies, birds engage in breathtaking aerial displays. Flocks of starlings twist and turn in unison, while raptors dive with astonishing speed, each encounter a test of agility and awareness. A single miscalculation can mean the difference between life and death, as smaller birds evade the talons of hawks with split-second maneuvers, their survival dependent on speed and instinct. Many species have developed intricate warning systems using calls and coordinated movements to alert one another to threats, transforming the landscape into a living network of communication. On the ground, speed is often the best defense. Deer in North America and kangaroos in Australia rely on powerful legs to bound across open terrain, their sudden movements triggering a chain reaction of flight among nearby animals. The kangaroo, capable of leaping great distances at high speed, often startles emus and wallabies, each animal adjusting its path in a finely tuned ballet of avoidance and escape. Despite the constant threats, stories of survival abound. Animals display remarkable resilience, recovering from injuries, escaping predators, and adapting to new challenges with ingenuity and determination. The common squirrel, a master of the treetops, uses its agility to navigate a world of dizzying heights. Its sharp claws and keen senses allow it to leap from branch to branch, always alert for predators above and below. When threatened, a squirrel can launch itself from a towering tree, spreading its limbs to slow its descent. Its lightweight body and flexible joints absorb the impact, allowing it to survive falls that would be fatal to most creatures. With leaps reaching up to 9 feet, the squirrel's acrobatics are a marvel of natural engineering, each jump calculated with precision and confidence. These extraordinary adaptations, whether in the forest, savanna, or sky, are a testament to the ingenuity of the animal kingdom, where every encounter, every leap, and every call is part of a grand, ongoing story of survival. To truly coexist with the remarkable creatures that inhabit our planet, we must first strive to understand their world, one shaped by instincts, survival, and the silent language of behavior. Every animal, from the smallest insect to the largest predator, follows a blueprint written by evolution. A python, for example, is drawn to warmth and driven by the urge to constrict its prey, a method perfected over millennia. In the golden grasslands, a lion's every step is guided by the need to defend its territory and hunt for survival, its senses finely tuned to the subtlest movements in the wind. Consider the wild hog, whose powerful snout is designed to root through forest soil in search of food. This behavior, so vital in the wild, can become destructive when the animal finds itself in unfamiliar territory, compelled by hunger and instinct to dig wherever it can. When animals display what we interpret as aggression or disruption, it is often a direct response to their environment. A sudden warning growl, a flash of teeth, or a defensive posture is not malice, but a message: I am afraid, I am protecting myself or my young. Picture a mother bear, her cubs tumbling at her side. Her every movement is calculated to shield them from harm. If she charges, it is not out of anger, but out of a fierce, instinctive need to defend her family. Or imagine a rhino, its vision blurred by nature, suddenly confronted by an unfamiliar shape. Its charge is a reaction to uncertainty, a desperate attempt to protect itself from a perceived threat. The language of animals is written in subtle cues: a lowered head, ears pressed flat, a tail flicking in agitation, or a low, rumbling growl. These are warnings, invitations to keep a respectful distance, and signs that an animal feels threatened or uneasy. Many risks arise when animals encounter obstacles they cannot understand. A herd of deer, for instance, will follow the same migration path year after year, guided by memory and instinct. When a new barrier appears, be it a river, in flood, or a steep cliff, they must adapt, sometimes with tragic consequences. Nocturnal animals, like owls and bats, rely on darkness and the subtle cues of the night to hunt and navigate. A sudden burst of light or an unfamiliar sound can disorient them, sending them off course and into danger. Some species have learned to adapt, finding new routes or using natural corridors to cross dangerous terrain. These passages become lifelines, allowing animals to move safely between feeding grounds, water sources, and breeding sites. Timing is everything in the wild. Birds nest when food is plentiful, foxes hunt at dawn when prey is most active, and wolves travel at dusk to avoid the heat of day. Each behavior is a calculated risk, a balance between opportunity and danger. Coyotes, ever adaptable, move silently through grasslands, listening for the rustle of prey. Bears, with their keen sense of smell, forage for berries and mark their territory, each action a testament to their survival skills. Even the most playful scenes, a family of otters tumbling in a river, a herd of deer pausing at the forest's edge, are underpinned by constant vigilance. Every animal is attuned to the risks of its environment, always ready to flee, hide, or defend. Packs of wild dogs or wolves communicate through howls and body language, coordinating hunts and warning of danger. Mountain goats and ibex, masters of the cliffs, take risks with every leap, their sure-footedness a marvel of adaptation. By learning to read these signs and respecting the boundaries set by animals, we can better appreciate their world and avoid unnecessary risks. Understanding animal behavior is not just about safety, it is about respect, curiosity, and the wonder of sharing our planet with such extraordinary beings. The shocking moments caught on camera, from the python in the attic to the lion on the highway, are more than just sensational clips. They are urgent messages from the front lines of an escalating global conflict over space and resources. These encounters force us to confront a fundamental truth. Our world is not separate from the natural world, but deeply and irrevocably intertwined with it. The path forward cannot be one of domination or retreat, but one of intelligent and compassionate coexistence. This requires a shift in our perspective from seeing wildlife as either a commodity or a nuisance to recognizing it as an essential part of a planetary system upon which our own survival depends. One of the most powerful actions we can take is to protect and restore natural habitats. When animals have sufficient space, food and water in their own territories, they are far less likely to venture into human-dominated areas in search of sustenance. Supporting conservation efforts, advocating for the expansion of wildlife corridors and protected areas, and participating in habitat restoration projects are all tangible ways to help. On a smaller scale, even creating a wildlife-friendly garden with native plants can provide a vital sanctuary for local birds, insects, and small mammals, helping to mend the fragmented ecosystems in our own backyards and communities. Thoughtful consumption and responsible policy making also play a crucial role. We must be conscious of the impact of our actions, avoiding those that contribute to habitat destruction. This includes protecting exotic species in their natural habitats, which helps prevent crises like Florida's python invasion, and ensuring that wildlife can thrive without human interference. Furthermore, we must support the creation of green infrastructure like wildlife corridors and support scientific research that helps us better understand and manage human-wildlife interactions. Change happens when individual choices are amplified by collective systemic action. In the end, the responsibility for forging a peaceful coexistence rests on our shoulders. It demands empathy, education, and a willingness to adapt. We must teach the next generation to respect wildlife, to understand its needs, and to appreciate its intrinsic value. By sharing the stories of these animal encounters, not for shock value but for the lessons they hold, we can foster a global community that is more aware and more engaged. The challenge is immense, but it is not insurmountable. If we act with wisdom and foresight, we can build a future where the drama of a squirrel's fall remains a wonder of nature, not a tragedy of human encroachment on this beautiful shared planet. Gap 2S, high above the city streets where concrete meets sky, another remarkable encounter unfolds, one that captures both the unpredictability of urban wildlife and the ingenuity of the animals that live among us. A single raccoon, its striped tail flicking anxiously, finds itself stranded atop a four-story apartment building. The city's hum drifts upward, but the raccoon's world is suddenly reduced to a patch of hot sun-baked roofing, the safety of trees and shadows a dizzying distance below. Security cameras catch the moment. The raccoon paces, searching for an escape. With no tree canopy to leap to and no easy descent, its dilemma is clear. Yet what happens next is a testament to the adaptability and sheer will of urban wildlife. The raccoon edges to the brink, its claws gripping the gutter. For a moment it hesitates, then, with a surprising burst of courage, it launches itself into the empty air. The fall is heart-stopping. Its body twists, instinctively flattening to slow its descent. It lands in a dense patch of shrubbery, shaken but unharmed, before vanishing into the shadows. This daring leap is not just a spectacle, it's a survival strategy honed by generations of raccoons who have learned to navigate the ever-changing cityscape. As we watch, we are reminded these animals are not just intruders in our world. They are neighbors, adapting, struggling, and persisting in the spaces we share. Scenes like this are unfolding every day, unseen and uncelebrated. They challenge us to look up, to pay attention, and to consider the invisible lives that move through the margins of our own. As we marvel at the raccoon's resilience, let's also reflect on what it means to share our cities and our futures with the wild. Gap 3S. As darkness settles over suburban neighborhoods, another chapter unfolds in the ongoing story of wildlife and our world. Under the cloak of midnight, a red fox slinks along the edge of a quiet backyard, its coat glowing almost copper under the pale wash of streetlights. Security cameras, triggered by movement, record the fox as it navigates garden fences and patio furniture with silent, practiced ease. For the fox, these human-made environments are a patchwork of opportunity and challenge. Its keen senses are attuned to the faintest rustle, a mouse beneath the shed, the flutter of a moth against a porch light. The fox pauses, ears swiveling, nose twitching in the cool night air. It moves with a grace that seems almost choreographed, weaving through flower beds and under swing sets, always alert but never hurried. Suddenly a motion sensor light flares on, casting sharp shadows across the lawn. The fox freezes, body low, eyes glinting with intelligence and caution. In that moment the stillness is electric. Two worlds side by side, each aware of the other. After a heartbeat, the fox resumes its patrol, slipping through a gap in the fence and vanishing into the labyrinth of hedges and alleyways beyond. These midnight journeys are more than simple hunts. They are a testament to the fox's adaptability and resourcefulness in a landscape forever shaped by human hands. Each night, the fox must balance the promise of easy meals, discarded food, overlooked compost, with the ever-present risks, cars, dogs, and the unpredictable rhythms of human life. Yet the fox persists, thriving in the spaces between our routines. Its story is a quiet reminder that the wild is not confined to distant forests or remote mountains. It lives among us, navigating the borders of our lives with silent determination. By morning, the only traces left are faint paw prints in the dew and a fleeting memory on a security camera, a hint of the untamed moving just beyond our reach. While the fox prowls the edges of human life, deeper in the night, other creatures perform feats few ever witness. Away from streetlights and garden fences, the camera turns to the hidden architects of the wild, animals whose rare behaviors quietly shape entire ecosystems. Beneath a canopy of moonlit trees, a beaver glides through black water, a branch clasped tightly in its jaws. The beaver's nightly labor is relentless and precise. With powerful teeth, it fells saplings and drags them to the stream, where a dam is under silent construction. Each stick, each clump of mud is placed with purpose. The result is a living structure, slowing the rush of water and transforming the landscape. In the morning the pond will brim with life, frogs, insects and birds all drawn to this newly created habitat. The beaver's rare engineering not only shapes waterways, but also creates safe havens for countless other species. Elsewhere, a camera trap captures the elusive courtship of fireflies, a spectacle invisible to most human eyes. In a meadow, hundreds of fireflies pulse in synchrony, their lights weaving a tapestry of signals across the darkness. This intricate dance is more than a display. It's a vital part of the firefly's life cycle, ensuring the next generation of these luminous insects. Their glow, while enchanting, plays a crucial role in pollination and the delicate balance of the food chain. Even underground, rare behaviors ripple outward. A female pangolin, armored and secretive, emerges from her burrow only once a week. She scours the forest floor for ants and termites, using her long tongue to draw out thousands in a single night. This unassuming foraging controls insect populations, preventing outbreaks that could devastate the surrounding vegetation. Each of these animals, through behaviors seldom seen, leaves an indelible mark on their world. Their actions, quiet and often unnoticed, knit together the fabric of the environment, demonstrating that even the rarest moments can have profound impacts. In the hush of the night, the wild persists, building, balancing, and illuminating the intricate web of life that sustains us all. As dawn breaks, the world awakens to the quiet triumphs of the night before. In the absence of human intervention, animal rescues unfold, orchestrated by the very creatures that inhabit these spaces. These are tales of silent heroes, where every action carries the weight of survival and the promise of a new day. Beneath the dense canopy of a rainforest, a young sloth clings precariously to a branch, having ventured too far from its mother. Its soft cries echo through the foliage, a call for help that does not go unanswered. Nearby, a watchful harpy eagle, a guardian of the treetops, takes notice. With a powerful yet gentle sweep of its wings, it descends, its keen eyes fixed on the distressed sloth. The eagle's presence is enough to deter potential predators, giving the sloth the precious moments it needs to regain its footing and climb back to safety. In the vast savanna, a drama of a different kind unfolds. A baby elephant, separated from its herd, wanders near a watering hole, vulnerable and alone. The matriarch of a neighboring herd, sensing the distress, leads her group towards the calf. With a series of low rumbles and gentle nudges, she guides the young elephant towards her own herd, offering protection and companionship until the lost calf can be reunited with its family. Deep in the heart of a coral reef, a small fish finds itself ensnared in a discarded fishing net. Struggling to free itself, it attracts the attention of a passing octopus. With remarkable dexterity, the octopus approaches, using its tentacles to carefully untangle the fish from the net. Once freed, the fish darts away, its life spared by the unexpected intervention of this 8-armed rescuer. In a quiet suburban garden, a hedgehog finds itself trapped in a narrow gap between two fences. As the night progresses, a badger, known for its strength and curiosity, comes across the trapped animal. With determined effort, the badger digs around the hedgehog, widening the gap and creating an escape route. The hedgehog scurries to freedom, its ordeal over, thanks to the badger's unassuming act of kindness. These stories, woven into the fabric of the natural world, remind us of the resilience and interdependence of all living things. In the absence of human hands, the wild finds its own ways to heal, protect, and rescue. These silent heroes, often unnoticed, continue their vital work, ensuring that life persists and flourishes in even the most unlikely of circumstances. As the sun rises, casting a golden hue over the landscape, we are reminded that the natural world, in all its complexity, is capable of great compassion and cooperation. These acts of rescue, though unseen by human eyes, are a testament to the enduring spirit of the wild and the unspoken bonds that connect us all. As the day unfolds, the city stirs with its own rhythms, a symphony of honking horns, distant sirens, and the steady hum of daily life. But woven into the fabric of this urban landscape, another world thrives, often unnoticed by those rushing through concrete corridors. Here wildlife has become a master of adaptation, finding opportunity and refuge in the heart of human civilization. Beneath the glow of streetlights, a peregrine falcon perches atop a skyscraper ledge. Once confined to rugged cliffs, these aerial hunters now soar between glass towers, their keen eyes scanning for pigeons and starlings that flock to city squares. With a breathtaking dive, the falcon plummets, talons extended, weaving effortlessly between buildings, a testament to nature's ability to adapt to even the most artificial of habitats. Down below, the labyrinthine network of storm drains and alleyways provides sanctuary for an urban fox. Navigating the maze with practiced agility, it slips silently past overflowing dumpsters and parked cars. Streetwise and cautious, the fox has learned to time its movements with the city's pulse, scavenging for scraps while avoiding the hazards of traffic and noise. High above, a family of raccoons has claimed an abandoned billboard as their den. Ingenious and dexterous, they scale fire escapes and leap from rooftop to rooftop, exploiting every nook and cranny the city offers. Under the cover of darkness, they forage for food, their nimble paws prying open trash bins and their masked faces peering curiously into the unknown. In a quiet courtyard, a colony of sparrows has transformed a tangled mass of electrical wires into a communal nesting ground. Their cheerful songs ring out each morning, a chorus that bridges the gap between nature and the built environment. Here, resilience is measured not just by survival, but by the ability to thrive amidst the constant churn of urban life. Even the smallest creatures have found their place, from ants marching in precise columns along sidewalk cracks to bats roosting under bridges. The city is alive with stories of adaptation and ingenuity. Each species, in its own way, redefines what it means to belong in a world shaped by humans. As dusk falls and city lights flicker on, the urban wild continues its dance, resourceful, resilient, and ever-evolving. These animals, unseen by most, are living proof that the wild is never truly tamed. In the shadows of our cities, nature endures, adapts, and flourishes, forging new paths in the spaces where our worlds overlap. As city lights twinkle beneath a darkening sky, a different kind of movement begins to unfold, one that spans continents, rivers, and the very heart of the urban sprawl. These are the great migrations, ancient journeys etched into the DNA of countless species. Yet in today's world, these epic treks are no longer across untouched wilderness, but through a labyrinth of steel, glass, and relentless human activity. High above the city's skyline, a flock of sandhill cranes forms a wavering V against the twilight. Their wings beat in perfect synchrony, guided by instinct and the invisible map of the stars. Once their path would have led them over open wetlands and endless plains. Now they must navigate a patchwork of highways, skyscrapers and shimmering city lights, a maze of hazards that grows more complex with each passing year. Down below, a tiny monarch butterfly flutters through a canyon of high-rises. Its delicate wings, painted in vibrant orange and black, carry it on a journey of thousands of miles. But the city offers little refuge. Rooftop gardens and isolated patches of milkweed are rare, precious oases in a concrete desert. Each stop is a gamble, a brief respite from the exhaust fumes and swirling winds of traffic. In the waterways that snake through the city, schools of salmon begin their upstream odyssey. Concrete embankments and stormwater drains replace the gentle curves of natural rivers. The fish press on, leaping over weirs and navigating culverts, driven by an ancient urge to return home. For some, the journey ends at impassable barriers, their passage blocked by floodgates and dams. Even the smallest migrants face monumental trials. Nocturnal songbirds, lured by the city's glow, collide with illuminated towers in the dead of night. Disoriented and exhausted, many never complete their voyage. The city, with all its promise and opportunity, can be both sanctuary and snare. Yet amid these challenges, hope endures. Bridges retrofitted with wildlife corridors, rooftop gardens planted with native flowers, and darkened skyscrapers during migration season, all are signs that coexistence is possible. Each adaptation, each act of understanding, becomes a lifeline for these determined travelers. As dawn breaks and the city stirs once more, the unseen journeys continue. Against all odds, migratory animals persist, threading their way through the urban tapestry, forging connections between distant lands and reminding us that the world is bound together by movement, resilience and the enduring will to survive.